Hey Leo, Mariah here. I hope you're doing good. I hope you're really well. So of course I want to get into your general collective reading and see what comes out and what comes through for you. So let's take the time to take a look at this and see what's going on. So for my Leos, as we go throughout the month of March, what is happening for them? What do they need to be aware of? What do they need to know? Let me know, Spirit, what can we relay over to Leo at this time for what they are needing to know? So let's see. Four of Cups. We also have the Nine of Wands in the reverse, the Ten of Swords, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Six of Pentacles. Sometimes you got to make sacrifices today that your future self will thank you for. That's immediately what it reminds me of. But this also feels like having to make sacrifices when you're just tired of making sacrifices, having to go through learning lessons and processes of growth when you're tired of it. And I know as spiritual as we may come and we may be, it's okay to admit you get tired of having to learn a lesson or having to go through lessons. Doesn't mean that that's going to prevent it from happening or you having to go through future lessons, but it's okay to acknowledge that part of ourselves where it's like, I'm just tired. I want a breather. You know, being able to look and compare at other people and it seems like their life doesn't have as many hiccups as yours, or they're able to get that right man or that right woman, or have the finances or lifestyle, or they're able to align themselves with their purpose. It seems like almost seamlessly, like they know what they want to do with their career or their life path, but yet in different sectors of our lives, we're struggling, or we feel like we're always having to learn some kind of new lesson about this sector of our lives. And it's just, it almost feels like you're worn out a little bit here, Leo. Don't get me wrong. I think your strength will always persevere any type of lower vibrational feelings. And in truth be told, I think when you feel those lower vibrational feelings, yes, we can get caught up in that in a moment. But the way your energy is just set up, you just can't sit there and just lie in that. You know, it's a part of you, whether it's the subconscious or maybe the conscious. After feeling that heavier energy, it's like you got to get up and keep it moving. You just can't, you can't keep a Leo down for too long. You know, that's pretty much what I'm trying to say. But it just feels like you're very wary of hearing, okay, well, it's a lesson, or, you know, a divine's rejection is divine's protection, or, you know, just be patient. It's coming. It's around the corner. And it's like you just want your independence today. You want the outcome you desire today. This feels kind of a little bit like instant gratification without it being instant, because you've gone through what you've gone through and you're just ready to live in that true reality, versus you're making steps or strides towards it, but then you feel like your path is the one that has all the extra obstacles. Do you get what I mean? It feels like your path is the one that has all the extra obstacles. It feels like your path is the one that has the extra hurdles. And I'm not saying that you're being ungrateful or you're being entitled, because I do see, at least around your energy, the feeling or the belief of prayer or the belief of spirit or the belief of your angels and ancestors, and working with energies, working with frequencies to make sure that you are protected and to make sure that things do go your way. But does not mean, though, that despite knowing that our spirit team has us, that we don't get frustrated, because that's what I feel like I'm looking at. Tell me more here. Why is this coming up? So I don't know if maybe you're just feeling frustrated in the month of March. It's almost the saying of, you take 3 steps forward to take 2 steps back. And it's just, you're just tired of that feeling, you know? So tell me more for my Leos. You need to get away. You need a breather. I'm hearing, what's a song by Prince? Is it called Red Corvette? Please don't judge me if I'm getting that wrong. I think it's called Red Corvette. But you just need one of those days where you can just let your hair down, be free. I feel like I'm talking to a Leo who needs a vacation. So maybe you're on a vacation. Maybe you're getting ready to take a vacation or a getaway. Maybe you're trying to plan one, even if you ain't got the finances for it. Maybe we're just dreaming or using our own mind as a sense of escapism to get away. 3 of Cups, 10 of Wands in reverse. You just don't want to be stressed. And especially if you've dealt with, for somebody specific, and I'm going to be very light when I say this because I don't like to touch on death. Y'all done got me together before when I did that about a year or so ago. I do send my condolences. It feels like you recently dealt with the passing, not, of course, not everybody, but someone here may have dealt with the passing between now and the past 3 months, so sometime in 2024, and that's still weighing on you. Or you may be dealing with whether it's you or a family member that has like a chronic health issue. So I don't know if you're having health concerns or a family member is having health concerns, and that's been weighing on you on top of things that you already have to do for yourself. So it's like, prior to maybe this death or prior to this health condition, you may have been making strides, and then, like I said, here comes the hurdles in the road. This was now a new hurdle put on your path where it's like, okay, now I'm taking 3 steps backwards because now I have to deal with this. Now, mind you, that's not for all of you, but for a small group, maybe 1 or 2, I do send my condolences of what you're going through. But tell me more here for Leo. The moon. 2 of Wands, I'm hearing the word Oshun. Somebody's connected to spiritual deities. So I don't know how, and I don't really get too deep into that because that starts to get a little out of my territory just because of a lack of knowledge, not a lack of belief. I'm hearing Oshun. I'm hearing certain like goddesses, certain gods. So you come from, really? That's why. Okay, I'm about to say something really fucking crazy, Leo, but please forgive me if I say this. This is not going to hit with everybody's, but it's going to hit with who it needs to hit. No wonder why I'm hearing like Oshun. Your ancestry, your actual DNA, your bloodline goes back to royalty, right? Strong royal lines, strong spiritual gods, strong spiritual goddess lines. And I think that's where we're getting frustrated in this lifetime. I'm not even going to put it in the month of March. I'm just going to put this on your life overall, where we feel like we kind of have the road in comparison to others that have more obstacles and more difficulties. And we get frustrated not because we can't handle it, but we're tired of being spirit's strongest soldier. And we can feel soulfully that this was not meant to be our life's path. This was not meant, we weren't meant to live this kind of life with these kind of hurdles. Don't get me wrong, it's life. That's what happens. You just got to deal with the salt and the sugar. But when you look at it, and you should never be in the space of comparison because comparison is the thief of joy. But when you really do assess this, the reason why the soul is just like frustrated with this is because you come from a lineage where you had it easy. You may have came from a lineage of, again, I get Oshun, like spiritual gods, spiritual goddesses, where you may have had people doing for you, where you didn't have to deal with certain hardships. You didn't have to deal with certain obstacles. You were able to use, whether it's your spirituality or the resources that your ancestry had at your disposal to make a life a bit more smoothly for you. So the reincarnation of the soul and spirit in this lifetime is not used to this. You're out of your comfort zone, but I don't think you consciously know you're out of your comfort zone. This feels more subconscious, where it's like, it's not aligning. My life, why is my life playing out like this? Or why am I having to deal with these circumstances? Why am I have to, and again, not to say that you want an easy life, but I think the soul comes from a lineage of, again, royalty, a very strong legacy, a very strong bloodline where they were able to kind of kick their feet up. You know, when hurdles came about, they were able to handle them. They weren't really thrown as many obstacles because they had the resources or spiritual abilities to maneuver them. And now in this lifetime, it's like you still carry the DNA, but the DNA still remembers the traces of its past ancestry where you came from that royalty. So the part of the soul is like, I'm not used to this. I just heard struggle love and struggle life. I'm not saying you have a struggle life or you're dealing with struggle love. I promise you I'm not saying that. But in comparison, it's a different way of experiencing life. And I think the soul is trying to catch itself up to what it's familiar with. It's familiar territory from ancient years ago. So if I was to put it to you, like, this may sound abstract, but I'm already there now in the deep end. Your soul is trying to catch up to what it remembers, the traces within your DNA from ancient times ago. I guess the concern here is the subconscious and the conscious not being in alignment, whether you consciously don't recognize or know who you are a descendant of, or subconsciously you may not know who the descendants are per name or per deity, but you know that you are connected. but you don't know how it makes sense to your reality. There's something off between the conscious and the subconscious where we're kind of missing that cable to link the two, to have that aha moment of, no wonder why I'm getting frustrated with these experiences in life. No wonder why every time I feel like I'm taking 3 steps forward and then 5 steps back, it weighs a bit heavier on me in comparison to others. And no wonder why this life that I'm having to lead is a bit more challenging in comparison to others. And again, not saying that you should be comparison. It is the thief of joy, but just be honest. We're human. We do that. You know what I mean? I don't care how spiritual you are. We just naturally do that at times. And you're trying to, in your current present, align your future. Because remember I said your future self is thanking you for something you're doing in the present. You're trying to align your future self to be able to live like how you lived, that your soul remembers, but you may not consciously remember from a different time ago. So if I'm getting comfortability, if I'm getting ease of life, if I'm getting simplicity, if I'm getting luxury, if I'm getting cozy, a very cozy lineage, very royal lineage, and right now our reality ain't really aligning with that, our soul is a little unsettled. Because how do we get there? And I hope I'm making sense. That's what it feels like you're trying to get to. I don't know if the month of March you have a epiphany moment or a eureka moment. But it may come, and I'm beeper. Obviously beepers don't exist anymore, but beeper. So I don't know if this is reference to like maybe the generation that you're from, or an era, or something important, or some memory with the beeper, but something's trying to get your attention. Something's trying to page you, but it's in a subtle way. Something's trying to get your attention here, Leo. The Tower, 5 of Swords, 8 of Pentacles. And then you're on the bottom of the deck. Strength in the reverse. I get it. This is just being sick and tired of being sick and tired. And like I said, I'm not saying you're going through the world just with a heavy heart and a heavy shoulder. But, you know, you're putting a lot of effort and work into something. Despite all odds, you've been putting a lot of effort and work into seeing progress, into seeing change, just to feel like somebody is doing something out of spite. Or it's like what comes to my mind is like, say you build something and then somebody comes and kicks it over. That's what this feels like. And it just puts you in a position of like, you know what almost wanting to spaz out, almost wanting to have, whether it's internally or externally, just wanting to have that spaz out moment. Like, what the fuck? Somebody this month they're going to make you feel like they pooped in your Cheerios. Excuse my language, but that's what it feels like, where you've been working, and then all of a sudden, so if I was to put this in real time, this could be a job that you have, and then all of a sudden you get let go of. And it's like, oh, I've been putting all this work in, and then what happened? Or a relationship, you're putting all this work in, and then all of a sudden it goes to the wayside. But you've been putting dedicated effort into this. And this is where I go back to you feeling like you just feel like you can't get ahead. And why is that? And this is asking you to really connect. Really look at your lineage, look at your ancestry, look at the people that came before you. I don't know if you've ever done one of those ancestry, hopefully I'm saying the right test, where you get to see the people that are in your lineage. I doubt it will go that far back when we start talking about deities and all that. But there's a need here, because you are going to feel like a moment of weakness in the month of March, where you may either want to give up, you ready to throw your hands up, you get frustrated, you may want to fight somebody, something disturbs your peace here in the month of March. And the reason why I'm getting that you need to go back to your ancestors, especially from the lineage that you come from, is because through connecting and learning and researching and understanding maybe certain things that they did, certain practices that they used, it's going to bring you back to center. But it's also going to fill you up. It's going to empower you again. It's going to make you feel like, I was given this path for a reason. It may not be the easiest, but this is the path that I have to deal with. I just don't know why you got caught up on this timeline. That's where this may start to go out of my scope and abilities, where this may need like an Akashic reader. But I feel somebody's soul is on this timeline where they're not used to this. They're not used to this kind of life. They're not used to the kind of lifestyle that they were introduced into this life. They're not used to certain experiences. They're not used to these obstacles or these hurdles. And you've been navigating it extremely well, but it's just like, why am I here on this timeline? You shouldn't, it almost feels like you shouldn't be here on this time. Like, we are here because you're meant to be here. Let me not get that incorrect. You're here because you're meant to be here. But why are you here in this timeline? Why this timeline specifically? Especially when you're not accustomed to the experiences that you've had to go through from a previous life that you're now dealing with in this lifetime. I gotta see. Spirit, give me, before I wrap this up, because this is for somebody. I guess you need to know this for whatever reason. My mind is just curious, why in this lifetime was Leo's spirit and soul brought back in this timeline? Disobedience. Each and every generation that from the root of your life source and your lineage and legacy, each and every generation or new person became more disobedient and more disobedient, started to move more away from the path, started to want more of their own independence, started to want to carve out their own lane, wanting to do things different than how the ancestors did, wanting to find new methods, not wanting to take the traditional path that was already in line in place. It's like each and every generation became a little bit more disobedient in the sense of wanting to do things their own way, which over time, it's like you have moved so far away. Now getting to this point of your reincarnation here, you've moved so far away from that kind of life and lifestyle through each and every generation, where now you're having to deal with the repercussions of the people that came before you that chose to be disobedient, that chose to live life on their own terms and do things in their own way, which at some of the cost to their detriment, right? Not wanting to adhere to tradition, not wanting to adhere to customs and having that life and living, just wanting to do things on their own. And now in this lifetime, because of that, you being a byproduct of your descendants, now you're having to deal with the after effect of the people before you that chose to, hey, I'm going to move away from that. I'm going to move away from spirituality. I'm going to move away from deities. I'm going to move away from, this kind of, restriction because of this luxury life. I'm going to move away from having these abilities. I'm going to move away because I want to do this instead. I want to go this route instead. I want to take this path instead. And each generation has moved you further away from where your soul truly wants to be, back to its original post. So this is a byproduct of what people have done before you that now you're having to deal with. And I think what's important is when we make the connection and connect the dots here, and your soul is yearning to be in alignment with where it's originated from. Now in our reality, we understand our plight, that it is going to be more difficult because, again, the people that came before us just made it more difficult, whether they brought us up into difficult situations, difficult environments, the lack of opportunities, the lack of resources. Maybe, again, they wanted to move away from spirituality and move into religion, and now that moved you further away from that. Whatever it may be, now you got to find your way back, which is a very tricky and difficult task, which on the day-to-day level, on the month-to-month level, you're going to deal with frustrations in your life because your soul is not where it wants to be. So certain things that you go through may feel more heavier in comparison to how others may process it because your soul ain't used to this. I hope this makes sense. I guess leaving this here, Leo, because I don't know what the message or the purpose of this reading is, but it's not for me to know. I think this is maybe to fill in some blank spaces that you may be having in regards to your current experiences right now, but also to give you kind of a heads up. This month something's going to kind of piss you off, something's going to, poop in your Cheerios. But being able to use those moments and handle it a little bit better, but also connect to your ancestors, to your deities. So that way, during those moments when you're feeling pissed off or you feeling life is just lifing, you get to harness strength. Because that's what I'm saying, that beeper, they're paging you. Come back. You're always going to be welcomed in with warm arms to your ancestors. So page them back when you start feeling this in this month of March. Leo, I'm going to let you go. I hope this makes sense. You take care. Sorry for my mix-ups and stuff and tripping over my words. Just know I love you. Also, personal reading is in the description box below if you want one. And you take care. Bye.